health is a practice.
You just listen to your body itself.
Am I living with JPH?
We're sat here today in the middle of the mountains at a Kunjapuri Point temple, and I'm sat with husband and wife, dream team duo of Ayurveda, Dr. Sreelals and Poornima. Sreelals is from a family of Ayurvedic physicians, and Poornima is from a family lineage of Ayurvedic healers. Both of you were born in Kerala. I feel just really blessed that we can have this conversation and in this most remotest of places. The Sreelals take an approach to medicine unlike any other doctors I've ever experienced in my life. It's like you're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 360 days a year. So the fact that I can just, WhatsApp you guys and you usually respond within 12 hours, putting aside all of your experience and knowledge is life-changing. The other thing that really stands out for me, for you guys, is that you take an approach to medicine that is also very different to Western medicine. Most people think that you go to a doctor and you tell them what's wrong and they're going to fix you. But because both of you kind of make it essentially a strict rule that you work together, you, as I understand, come looking at somebody from all different angles. And before you propose, a treatment plan, you've looked at it from your background, which is more in nutrition and dietetics, and you come with your background, which is more in the background of bioinformatics, right?
The medicine research molecules.
Yeah. And that understanding that different doctors and different experiences can feed in to best help an individual is so lost in Western medicine, especially from when I've lived in France or in England. What happens to people, especially complex cases, is that the responsibility falls on the patient. So when one doctor isn't able to help someone because their knowledge is limited, then they don't get the help they need. And then that continues to affect the system because people just keep coming back to a different doctor and we don't, make progress. I usually ask each guest before we do our podcast recording where they feel most happy or most at peace, and we shoot in that location. But when we spoke, Sreelals, actually it's really stuck in my mind. I find it really beautiful that you explained that this idea of peace, happiness is anywhere in the world. And I think that's a really important takeaway for the listeners, because where, I've spent years going here and to Nepal and these places to really come to be my own and understand my health, that knowledge, that information you take in itself is transformative because it's just so true. These mountains are very special to me. First of all, it's because we met about 20 minutes walk south of here. And then in these mountains is where I started my own sort of Ayurvedic healing journey. And you've explained to me that rather than Kerala, where everybody thinks Ayurveda comes from, is it right that Ayurveda started somewhere in these mountains?
So it so happened the codification of Ayurvedic, putting principle structure and that making a book, something like that, happened in the foothills of Himalayas.
So to understand a little bit more about you, your family are Ayurvedic physicians?
Yeah, true. So what it goes like our great-grandfathers, parents and all, they were the Ayurvedic physicians. I think they were doing more to the royal family and things like that. So they were there, right? So my dad's lineage came from a little bit south of Calicut, somewhere in the Trishur area. And one generation, like my parents' side, not many people were in the Ayurveda field. Mm-hmm. Most of them went to the modern medicine. It saw him probably during the British rule or the invasions we had. So it became Ayurveda lost sheen, or like people say, it's a kind of secondary subclass. It's not scientific, things like that. So probably what it meant was that there was a brain drainage in Ayurveda. So people doesn't have associate the logic, like how we have different rituals in and temples and all. There's a pure logic behind it in every ritual. So like fasting or feasting, anything whatever we have, there's a logic behind it, right? We lost it. From my family perspective, it was not that. Now there are more doctors, but mostly of them are still allopathic doctors, modern medicine, right?
Yeah.
So that's our lineage. When I got into Ayurveda, this Vada, Pitta, Kapha, and learning Sanskrit, and you have to learn the Panchatantra Kathas, like the kid stories, right? Yeah. Everything, and the Sanskrit, all strange sounds, you have to learn the vowels, grammar, we call it Legu Siddhanta, the Kaumudi. So it's all grammar books and also it's really quite strange. And the Ayurvedic philosophy, the science, we call it Padartha Vijnana, like you understand the matter, right? So it's like science, right? So it is a philosophy which is very hard to digest those days, right?
Yeah.
I went on, checked on, and even I tried, because I was trying to see Ayurveda from a modern perspective.
Yeah.
Right? See, like, how does it work? Like, how you
with
get
your science.
Yeah, exercise.
Yeah.
So I was trying to that. And that's where it so happened, which turned me is like when I was my early days of my career, I was practicing in Bangalore. So I had a case of lumbar stenosis in which is, got stuck, like, so his nerves are not working. So his thigh is not moving. So he need help to get it. So I was doing treatment and all. He's improving, he didn't even do physiotherapy. Everything was done. So he's improving. But it so happened, he had a past history of myocardial infarct. So he had to, go and check the doctor. So I was planning some treatment, internal medication and everything. So the day before, he went for his checkup and he came with a sad face in the next day morning and showed me a letter from the doctor there, said that, okay, see, this is a letter from the doctor. So the doctor wrote it clearly, say that he's taking so and so medicines under this. So he's not supposed to take any medicines internally, any herb, anything, whatsoever. Like, so I kind of, took back and thought about it, right? And, in a way, he's right, because at least we know what the medicine, what it does and all. And I had no clue, the millions of herbs, whatever I'm putting in, the molecules I'm putting in, where it goes, I had no clue about it. I don't know what, I didn't study from Western perspective, right? Or the modern science point of view. So it's happened at that time, there is like an institute called Institute of Bioinformatics and Biotechnology. They're trying to merge the biology teams and IT teams to get the bioinformatics, because application of IT in biology is bioinformatics. So they did an all India, selection and all, like, so team from the IT stream, a team from biology stream, medical stream and all like that. So we got a group of 30 people at the time. So we got through it, and my original intention was to understand where does this molecule come from, where it goes, what are the active principles. Those days we are trying to identify it.
With this client,
like the kind of Ayurvedic medicines, it's working. Like it's wonders for so many things. How you change out so many things, like anti-inflammatory attributes of Ayurvedic herbs. It's quite amazing, right? So we went in. I went to research, and then I find it's quite really hard to find what is the active principle in it. And you never know, is that the one is really making it or not? Like, how you make a cuisine and make a curry, a small ingredient change make a big impact in that.
Yeah, you have to find that thing. And if it's an Indian thing with loads of spices, it's like an impossible.
Like, how you make a film, or it's not you see maybe an actor, but there's a whole team behind it.
Definitely.
Right? So everyone is equally important. So maybe it's an orchestra, right? So, you don't know what it is. So I find it's impossible in a way to figure it out, because Ayurveda clearly says that it is impossible to learn Ayurveda in one's lifetime.
Oh,
Such
wow.
a vast science. It says that, when I passed out, I thought I know some 5% of Ayurveda. Like, that's what I believed, right? Now I know I'm less than 1% of Ayurveda.
Now?
Yeah.
Oh my
Almost 30
God.
years down the line, right? So, so it's such a vast thing, it's really complex. You may have the basic ideas, but if you go to detail by detail, it's impossible, right? So that happens, right?
But the underlying premise is simple, or?
Yeah, it's simple. Ayurveda is nothing but common sense applied. I can explain later, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
you
it's
will
very
have to.
basic, right? Right. It's very
It's
basic.
very simple, but little bit
Yeah.
complicated.
Yeah.
right.
But that's actually the world.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
like
right.
all these
The whole
different
process,
things.
like,
yeah.
how do we move my hands? If you look, it's
Yeah.
complex.
Yeah.
So muscles, so many things coordinate, you
Yeah.
have to relax, release, so many things you need to do it, right?
Yeah.
So it's a very coordinated movement, but we do it as simple, nothing happens,
Yeah.
right? So it is. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? So that's what really plays. Somehow we missed out, something what ancient knowledge we had. Because those days, see, if I say maybe I'm from Kerala, I try to spread the Kerala lifestyle wherever I go, right? Because I believe that is right. But I miss the fact I need to adapt to the environment where I am in, right?
Yeah.
So that's very important. Like the dress what I've fit here, this may not be what I need in Kerala. This is not what I need if I go to England.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to adapt, even the food choices, everything need to be changed. When we were in, like here, like we have been now a bit more than 1 year now.
In
So we
Rishikesh,
followed our
yeah.
Kerala food because that's what he has used to it. And we couldn't survive the winter here. We feel a little bit really shaky, right?
Yeah.
So when we adapt it to the food here, we're much better. We are able to handle things much better. We can survive the cold, right?
Yeah.
So our strategy, after my marriage, it's even accelerated, I would say, right? So I was alone, and then when she joined, she's also more inclined to understand the logic behind it. It's not that, for this condition, you take this medicine. That's
Yeah.
it. So we always look what worked, what went wrong. It's not like what happened. We look why it happened. So solving the why always gives you the result, right? So now what we do is that we follow the basic Ayurveda line as the base, right? Follow it, and then try to find solutions, like the logic from the modern perspective.
Have you ever asked yourself, am I living?
What makes Ayurveda different is that it accepts the fact everyone is different.
Yeah.
Like every terrain, because deha means body. So there's a physical body, and it's also the terrain. Because there are certain elements over here, and we have that predominant wind and cold, like the misty. So that what cold qualities are increasing. So those,
It's like how you're saying, when I'm in Rishikesh, I have to have a specific diet because my body is different.
In a
That's
way.
our environment.
in a way, because you have to look what you're designed for,
Yeah.
in which environment. It's like a car designed to run in Europe and come in. I always come with a car example because I want to be an automobile engineer in the past.
No, we were saying it earlier because I was saying in Switzerland you have to do this to the cars,
Exactly, right,
but
right.
here they don't do them.
Yeah.
So yeah,
You manage it, but it's not the ideal in a way, right? So
Yeah.
there's a perfect designing to survive the best way in that sense. But you can still manage. That's what happened most of the time. We just get through. It's like following a traffic rule. If you miss it, you can get through. And if you follow it, doesn't mean you'll get through, right? But there are better chance getting through if you follow the rules and guidelines.
for me, one of the first things with Ayurveda, and you've said it yourself, is it's so infinite, you can't learn it in a lifetime. There's so much there, then you get lost. And me, I like to do things perfectly. So I'm worried, I'm not going to do this right, I'm not going to do this right. So is it like it's more do your best?
It's like, what is, we say the optimum. That's the key of Ayurveda.
Sarvesha Madhyama.
Yeah, like Sarvesha Madhyama means always in the middle path. It's a Buddhist trait, it's like,
Yeah.
not to the extreme, like be it fashion, be it any work, be it any hard work, just in the middle, the sweet spot. Like how you drive a vehicle, car, like the middle of the range, not to the push to the heart, not to the too low. Your genes have evolved over generation to survive the place where you really belong, right? That's why people in different terrain have different physique, different sizes. We put the element theory, the 5 basic elements. Because if you see, the elements are the kind of physico-chemical properties.
Yeah.
Like in some building or certain structure, basically you're looking for the stability.
Yeah.
I can do with the concrete, I can do with the steel, I can do with maybe a carbon fiber, whatever, right? But end result is I need some structure to stabilize it. right? Then I go on with that, like what I need, certain kind of mobility, I need a hinge to open, I need to lubricate this, everything's to define the function, right?
Yeah.
So our body evolved over the years to a certain way to survive in a certain way, certain areas. You can see all the Eskimos, they have a little bit of,
Yeah.
small eye
And somebody
aperture, right?
who's slender
Right.
will have to make different arrangements because their body's not naturally built to be there,
like
right?
that, right.
Yeah.
You need to understand how you are built up and what is the basic needs your body needs. So
Yeah.
we says you just listen to your body itself. Don't
Yeah.
listen to anything else. So when you are listening to your internal cravings or the internal emotions, etc., it will give an idea from which element your body is mainly needed
Yeah.
or which element is the basic for your body's structure.
That's the best thing that anybody has ever said to me, that you said, listen to your body. Because before we met, I started to do that anyway. And maybe I said to you, but I was in Bali working at the time, and I had this thing, it was really weird, but I was in the supermarket, my body was moving towards the yogurt aisle, but I'm lactose, I try not to have lactose, and I really wanted it. So not only did I know what I needed, my body physically was moving me to it, and that is what so many people get lost by. Because I was talking to my sister and she was saying, should I give this to the baby and this to the baby? And when he was born, it was around the time that we first started working together, and I was still am obsessed with it. And I was saying, you don't need to do this, because what you guys teach is a baby knows, and it says, I want this. When it says, it doesn't, like for a while, Arjun, my sister's son, wasn't wanting avocado, and she was wondering why, but he obviously didn't need it. So how do we get people to get more in touch with listening to their body? Because I think a lot of people have lost.
So basically, you need to understand the 5-element concept, which can be correlated with the nutrients. Okay, so if the earth, fire, air, etc. So whenever there is a more earth and water in your body, you will have an obese body, because when you are combining the earth and water, it will be more obese person.
It's a well-sized, big,
or the fat will be more. So if you have an obese person, you don't need to give more earth and water. You
Okay.
need to give more air and space.
Okay.
So when we comparing the earth and the water, means we can compare it as a carbohydrate and the fat.
Yeah.
Okay. But when we are comparing the air and space, we can say it as more antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, etc.
Yeah.
That's why for an obese person, we need to prescribe more antioxidant-rich food items like the vegetables, leafy salads, etc.
Yeah.
Okay. And in the reverse order, if you are a lean person, means your body is mainly with the air and the space, not because there is not earth and fat. So for that person also, if you are providing more salads or the sprouts, it may increase the air and space. That means it may increase more problems, more vada disorders, degenerative diseases may happen.
Yeah.
In that condition, you need to provide the carbs and the fat.
And for people who don't know their earth, wind, water, fire, like, I've done it but myself, but you can just Google like an Ayurvedic dosha test and try and do one online.
Or you don't need to think about which dosha you have. You just listen, what is your body need at that situation.
Yeah. And the more you listen to them, the more you get better at listening to them.
When you're having a gas and bloatedness, normally your body says, I don't need the salads. Normally your body may instinctively stop the salads when you have gas and bloatedness. But when you may read in the internet that salads are very healthy, so you may take that for your health. So these kinds of basic information you need to understand.
On that beautiful note, thinking of basic things, it's starting to rain. Should we try and do this in the pagoda instead? Because we should look after our base.
Ayurveda clearly says that the rivers in the south are more kapha increasing because of the organic nature. You're prone for more infections and all. And that talks about the land, like you have a dry land, wet land and all. So in the wetland, you're more prone for like filariasis, flu, infection and all. In dry land is more dryness, those kind of related things. So it clearly says like, the river, Ganges, it's like something, even the rainwater is called Gangambu, in the sense like
Purest water.
pure water, right?
Yeah.
So Ganges river is not like dosha increasing. Probably it has got less organic contents. Probably is a possibility, right? So it talks about different rivers, from the south of Meru mountain, and like how the Sahiparvata, all these areas, the different qualities of water is mentioned. It even talks the quality of wind. Wind from the east is more chances of getting chill and cold is more from the wind from the eastern direction like that. The water matters because there is life in water, because it is not pure H2O what you're drinking. You get all the minerals along with it, and your body needs it. And your gut bacteria are designed or evolved around these kind of waters where you're really born and brought up.
Yeah.
The one problem we all face is that now we are into a kind of we would call like a warm, like a human farm, in the sense like we are in a flats, like a apartments. You're staying there, you're AC to AC, right? So it's like you're not exposed to the elements of the nature. So it's like a farm chicken, which is captivated in gone. If you put in the nature environment, they don't know how to walk, they can't fly, So we are coming to that level. So we are really cutting off from the elements, all the the most sterile life you're having it. Your body's resilience is lost. Even though we have trillions of cells, a major part of it is still is our external organisms. So we have a lot of bacteria living in us, right? It's not a part of it. It's like colonies are there, so they live in this ecosystem, right? So the water, the environment, the food, all matters. So that's very important from Ayurvedic perspective.
The practical life, they need to adapt the changes in the climate.
Actually,
and
that should be,
they need to adapt they need to understand the chemistry of their body. They need to understand the biological clock of their body. So that will be the practical solution in their day-to-day life.
Our lives have two types. One is like physiological, like what your body really needs, like a kid's instinct, right? Second is a little more intellectual, like condition we call psychological, like having a toast or having a cigarette, for example. It's not that you really need it, but you associated certain psychological factor that make you feel good. So at the end of the day, you need feel good with food, and the actual purpose of the food is to nourish you.
Yeah.
Right? So sometimes you get a crossover. So sometimes you are not hungry, but you get a nice food which you really wanted. Right?
Yeah.
So what happens is that you may eat it even though you don't want it. Or you say, I need to fast. I do it even though you're hungry. Whatever, right? So, these are all small changes.
But for like people, for example, who don't have that luxury to get time alone because they're in a small place living with someone else, how can they work in their environment?
This is actually the same problem happens when you have in a family where you have the elderly as well as all the way to kids. Right?
Yeah,
so you
exactly.
can't take 101 food on that.
Yeah.
Right? So actually there is an optimal levels point, right? So the kids need a little bit more extra nourishment, you go it. And it's not necessarily the mom should eat what is left over. Right? Wasting. So we have to optimize it, right?
Yeah.
Animals is very choosy about the food. Even see the monkeys and dogs.
Yeah.
She's talking about how we can adapt it with the situations.
Yeah.
So, okay, maybe we can speak.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right. No. Oh, sorry. right, no problem. So the thing is, how to adapt in such where conditions are there, like, we should know what we need it. Even if you're in a group, right? You can say some people, I'm allergic to that. I'm not touching it.
Yeah.
Like I can go with company of my friends who take alcohol because my body type can't take it. I don't want it. I'm not taking it. I have all the friends who are very, as in the teenage phase and all in the early phase of my life. My job is to take them from wherever they are, take them and make sure they're going at home safe, drive safe, everything. That's my responsibility. But I'm good friends with them, but I now take it. And they never force me. You don't have to be harsh with your body and mind because there are sometimes elements like a sense of well-being. We call sadhaka pitta. Like you got some rewards, what you do and all. You can enjoy, right? What happens is that in those conditions, like two things I can tell. One is like you indulge something, you liked it more, right? Then traditionally after a big feast and all, there was a period of fasting, I don't eat something. Even like Ekadashi on the 11th day of the full moon or new moon, people normally the digestive capacity is less, you have to fast it. So whatever extra you ate, body compensate by that fasting.
Yeah.
Or you feel I don't like to eat. listen to that body.
No, but say, for example, coming back to that previous point where I was saying, people, if they're in a crowded house and there's loads of people around, that's the environment that they've grown up in. Mm-hmm. But if their body is saying to them, like, I can't think or I can't do this, and say, for example, they don't feel comfortable or confident like me to say to my relatives or family, like, I need time alone, or to take themselves out of the situation. What do you say to people when they're in that situation?
Now, there are certain characters, like some people don't like noise, some people like to clean, some want to mess it up, right? There are differences. So you set the expectation. Like say, when we had the children, like I'm not expecting I'm not expecting a tidy room, which my naturally like it. Like my body type needs that perfect life.
Okay.
So I'm expecting, not setting the standard. I'm not expecting like I'll be here at 7:30 sharp. No, I know that there are a lot of variables. I'm expecting a half an hour extra minimum, right? I'm expecting on the way, child might do something, we get messed up your dress. It's a possibility, right? Or I can see like today morning, what he did, like we are lighting the lamp, for the prayer. And he came and he pulled all the matchsticks and thrown her out. Fine, fantastic, nice.
Yeah.
Game. So let's play the game of putting a matchstick back.
Yeah.
So I'm not expecting him to behave the way I wanted in a real world, in a different setting. Like I expect the way you expect from you is different from my child expectation. Right?
Yeah.
Right? If I become your guest, the way you behave to me is different. But if we are a co-host for somebody else, you expect me to share something, some job, some responsibility.
Yeah.
So we set the standards, expect it, and clarify. This is what I expect from you.
Oh, but it's so true. This has slightly blown my mind because I don't know when, but I changed my perspective on everything, which is just very simple, that you can't change other people. You can only change yourself. So like to these people, I was thinking that you'd give a solution where, they should take time out. They should go and be alone. But the reality is that's where you are, and you have to have an understanding of the environment, and change your expectations is just, be more loving and kind to yourself and those other people. That's the environment that you're in.
Now, setting expectation again come to the elements. Like a Vata person is not that the nice ambience and all what you need. They want to talk. They need the time to spend. They like to talk. Talking matters the most.
I'm laughing because we're both Vata and we both love to.
Pitta person is like, okay, you talk. Let me see the environment. I'm not comfortable here. Then the third, a Kapha, like you go to a nice restaurant, like a Michelin star and all. You might get a good food or whatever, it's nice looking, fantastic ambience, like something special you made. Put in the mouth, they don't like it. Even if it's a street food, if the food is enjoyable, they like that. So people, based on the dosha and the elements in their body, you set your expectation, even the mind also varies.
Yeah, but I think the biggest takeaway is, I thought the biggest takeaway before we came today was going to be listen to yourself. And that is. But for me, what the biggest takeaway is that is to don't be stuck in this is who I am, this is what my body is. Everything in the world, like the nature that we keep facing, is about change. So we can change ourselves, our health could change. It's what you're saying is adapt. If you believe you're going to get better, then you can get better. But with like people who have serious conditions, like we were saying, like type 2 diabetes or something, what do you do for?
Yeah, right. So the disease actually is a phase, like as we said, Ayurveda is a manual of life. It's a troubleshooter in the manual, right? So first we look what led to that, right? See, we all are different, so our blood parameters everything will be different. So if you say, since you asked, say, type 2 diabetes, it can be one is straightforward, like you ate more and you get a sugar went up and you're not doing any exercise and things like that. Second part is that sometimes it can be a stress-induced one. There's something called Somogi effect and all. Because whenever your sugar level dips, the sugar goes up. These people invariably will have a higher blood sugar level early in the morning, right? Even though they didn't eat any food. Where did this sugar came from? It's all the reserve sugar is pumped up. Mm-hmm. We have seen cases like when some people after exercise, the sugar can go up, or they're stressed because their cortisol goes up. Yeah, I've seen a case in this recently. Like it's like cortisol is very high. It should be something around 18, which is 28, 26, like that. So in response to these high stress hormones, the insulin's function is reduced because the body needs, under stress, I need extra glucose to run the show. I'm in a fight or flee mode. So it needs higher sugar. So in that case, reduction of the stress is very important because the high cortisol inhibits insulin function, which raises the sugar level. And you say diabetic, and you put on more insulin, right? And then body got into confusion. Like body said, I reduced it because I want to raise the sugar because of this reason. Now something else is coming up here. Am I messing it up? Same happens not only for diabetes, even thyroid functions, blood
For
pressure.
every hormonal changes.
Anything which whenever you interfere into poke into the body's own rhythm, anything which has got a feedback mechanism, there is a possibility that you are putting a spanner in the body's functions.
Okay.
Then everything go for a toss.
So first you need to understand why your sugar is increased. Is it due to the lack of insulin in your body or is due to the high cortisol in your level?
Yeah.
So based on that, you need to frame the treatment, frame the diet, etc.
And then you explain it to, people in that very scientific way, right?
So first we are understanding why this sugar level is increased. So there's a lots of reason behind it. Maybe the diet, this may be the lifestyle, it may be the genetics. So first we need to rule out in which part of the causative factor, what is the causative factor for this diabetes. And we need to remove that causative factor. Then only the disease will cure properly.
But that's the answer for all diseases, to find the real.
Recently the type 1 diabetes, a girl, a 9-year-old. If you look the history, during the COVID time, she was totally contained in the house, never went out and all. And she continued that in online classes, everything like that. And it found like low vitamin D. And low vitamin D normally raises the cortisol level. Higher the cortisol level, there's a more insulin resistance. More insulin resistance means higher sugar level.
Talking about the type 1 diabetes.
Yeah.
So whenever we having the type 1 diabetes, always we find a stress-induced one, okay? There's a correlation with the, most of the cases, there is a stress factor before they are finding the type 1 diabetes, okay? But in this particular case, we didn't find any stress factor. So we are just confused. Why this 9-year-old girl have this problem? Then we rule out that this COVID, due to the COVID, her vitamin D is reduced. That is internally producing the stress.
Like a biological stress as opposed to an environmental stress.
That makes her type 1 diabetes.
So each case we need to analyze because that's the fundamental thing in Ayurveda. Everybody is a fresh case. It's starting with a fresh canvas, start putting the dots and see what makes sense for you. Why you are reacting like that. So first of all, when you get a lab report, it's a fantastic, right? It's like, is it normal for you? Because we all have different size and shape. So is the blood parameters. Then we see how it relates to you. And we observe, maybe start treatment and see is it changing or not? What are the factors in place? So it's like you have to get an ideal ecosystem for you to function. That's who you are. And that ecosystem is influenced by the environment around you, how you react to it. So this ecosystem in a way, you can put it, is all about our life. Living within yourself, living in the environment where you are, the best to find the right balance.
Balancing all the things.
Balance is like the trick that I think everybody in the world, that's the real thing to figure out. But so I've been working with this idea and I've got it in my head, I want to prove it, which is that physical pain is a manifestation of emotional root pain that hasn't been resolved, right? And all these old practices, Buddhism, all these things, they explain that very clearly. But people think it's wishy-washy, like if my back hurts, well then I have a problem with my back, so fix my back. How do you say to somebody, who doesn't think they have an emotional issue or that it's not stress-induced, how do we help people understand to do that? We say go to the root cause, but for me, I find it still doesn't resonate for people.
Actually, so there's a when we go through our textbooks, it says if you need to be healthy, if you need to be disease-free, not healthy, if you need to be disease-free, you need to follow the correct diet, the ahara, and correct routine. And then they says 2 or 3 lines about the mindset only. Okay, so when we in the initial stage, when we go through that sloga or that verses, we are just thinking why he's saying only 2 sentences for the ahara or the food and the activity. Then rest of the all thing is talking about the mind. Initially, we also didn't understand why this much importance are given to this
the mindset.
But later, when we are evolving, we understand. So if your mind is more steady, calm and cool, the rest of all the things you can handle very easily.
People think that, if I fix my sleep, if I fix my food, if I do my sports, if I do my walk, this is going to make me better. But above and beyond that, what I've been working on the most is this idea of my mindset, my limiting beliefs towards everything. And I'm really working on that overarching thing for both of you guys, for people who are trying all this thing and lost and there's all this information. Now we're going to throw Ayurveda into this a Western pot. What do you think is the easiest takeaway kind of thing that people could try?
First of all, you need to understand why I am leaving. Okay.
Wow, that's a big question.
So if you find the answer for that, the rest of the things are very easy.
Yeah.
Okay, so you need to find your own destiny.
Yeah.
Okay? If you need to believe, this is the reason I need to leave.
How did you find your destiny?
It's a big story.
Yeah, mine
Also,
too.
It's a journey because of the destiny, right? Because, there are multiple roles you have to play in 8 levels, right?
Yeah.
So it's a continuous evolution till the now. See, you can put it like two. One is the physical part and the psychological part. So one part you want to come here, no matter which vehicle you take it, even there is something you don't, wiper is not working, this is not working, somehow you manage it, like how we changed how the camera with the mist came. It's not a under thing. We made some modifications, improvisation to get the job done. So even if you are not fine-tuned, you got to aim to do that.
Yeah.
You went through the journey to get that job done.
Yeah, that's the mindset.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Is that no matter what,
Yeah.
even if I can't do this, or the monkey comes, or the man's, thinging the road, is the mindset is we still want to have this conversation.
Exactly. Go ahead, prove that what for. Because, that's ultimate aim. You can go point A to B. You can reach many ways. You can reach point A to B. The fundamental question: why should I go for point A to B?
That you need to decide.
Right? The logic behind it. Why you take all the pain? You could have slept there in the room. It's Sunday, nice morning, right?
But we all know, we all know why we're doing it, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So that's for every person need to understand. Okay?
Yeah.
You should not copycat others' life.
Yes.
Okay. That is the main issue which we are facing now.
Right.
So much true.
Right.
So whatever your life, whatever aim of your life, okay, then if you understand that, so that may take time, okay, that may take a lots of time, but you need to search what is my aim, what is the fact, or what is the reason for my existence. So the life is very easy. But if you are trying to copycat others' life, then it is all totally mess up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to one more view into it, your journey or life is not all about one vision.
Yeah.
You have multiple roles.
Yeah.
As an individual, I can be a son, I can be a husband, I can be a father, I can be some doctor for somebody else, I may be just a helper, for somebody else.
So there's a different roles in your
role.
life.
You keep playing. And there's a universal reason why you're doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That reason is the most important.
So we have to go with the flow, in line with what is aligned, not to be worried and worry what happens We are destined to happen certain thing at any point. What is going to happen now? This moment, this has to happen. That's true. So how will you adapt to it? That's more important. Right? So life is a continuous process. You go on. Health is also a continuous process.
Just like a river.
Yeah. We seldom complain that we don't have wings to fly.
Yeah.
So because we don't compare that. We don't think that as an option.
Yeah.
Of course, in the sense of course we can fly in the way, but what I'm saying, you look, adapt and define your goal. So that's the first part. Why I'm going to do that? And all the paths come into that one.
Yeah.
And of course, it takes in how will make it easy your life.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter. You can have figured it out, what your purpose is and what your why is. But even if you haven't, it doesn't matter. And if the obstacles could get in the way, but as long as you're still trying, then we're doing our best, isn't it? At the end of the day.
Simple thing is that you need to understand the rhythm of the body to try to be rhythm in as much as possible according to the sun and the moon. But beyond that, you need to understand the aim of your life. Okay?
Yeah.
So and go for that aim, whatever comes.
Yeah.
There may be lots of other factors. There may be it may influence, just like the doctor says, the kala or the time may influence you, the inputs, the artha may influence you, and but there is a that should go on.
How do you do it? What, like 2 or 3, 4 things do you do, like, of a day
Yeah, actually,
that keep that rhythm side of things?
Actually, we are trying to follow that rhythm of the body as much as possible because we have kids, etc. So there will be some changes.
So what does like 24 hours in the day of the...
Say, I can tell you there's a transformation for me. I used to be a night person. I find I can study all the way up to 5 o'clock, no issues. I like
In the morning?
No,
all the way
it's
up to 5 o'clock. I can
the
go like
teens,
the whole
from-
night. As a teenager, so I was studying Ayurveda, the basic thing which says you should get up in the morning.
Yeah, you used to start at night and just roll on till 5 a.m.
And I can go on.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
When
go
the
in. No,
college
stretch,
days, he
right?
was
I used
doing
to
that.
like right?
Yeah.
And if I get a 5 o'clock, I just fall down, So, and then I really wonder if my nature is like that, because as per Ayurveda, it's what it says, right? I'm comfortable with that. But when I see the patients or my clients or whatever, I see those who get up early, even if it's a husband and wife, they have better command in life for those person who get up in the morning, even the same situation they have it. Those who in the night always feel there is something more to do. I'm not complete. I don't feel that sense of well-being, no matter what it is, right? Even those days, I was like, I want to finish every work, everything like that. I feel like so many things what I not accomplished rather than what I accomplished.
Yeah.
So there is a constant feeling of lagging in me, right?
Yeah.
So that's one thing. So now I changed myself. Now I am getting up before sunrise and all. Now I'm easing into the day and all, right?
Well done.
So what happened is that like earlier it's like, I got a time, I know that I need a half an hour to get ready and all. So I always put like time, okay, this is a schedule, let's say 8 o'clock, okay, 7 o'clock you ready, run like that. So I just straight away jump and run like that. Now as we learn about actually the COVID time, we had a lot of time to think about ourselves and all. And that's the time I noticed like we find how the cortisol cycle going up. So those who are just run, jump, spike, go, they always have higher spike of cortisol. So their stress hormones are raising it. But if you get up in the Brahma Muhurta a bit earlier, your spike is much less. You're easing into your life, right? And you have better command of it. When you're cool, automatically other person is also cool.
Automatically it will cool.
Right? Because it reflects. If I'm in a stress and a hurry mode,
It's
just
true.
everyone gets it. Like
And
someone say-
everybody.
it's like if everyone say like, I have to catch the flight and let me go now. Then we are also in a hurry. Everyone get hurried,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then what are you going to do after that? Well, I don't know. So that's many times we push for no reason, right? So that's what happens with us. You go push hard beyond a limit, you achieve for something. What does it do, right?
Yeah, but so now you guys wake up before.
Sunrise,
Sunrise,
and that's what I do.
Sunrise, right.
And ease into it. And we always recommend that's a 45 minutes to 1 hour time of morning routines.
And you have your own individual morning routine.
Yeah.
No. It's more of common, but we go with the flow. Like, simple things we like was going to clearing the bowels, brush your teeth, and then, put eye drops, nose drops.
It's take at least 20 minutes to do that.
Right.
So
So
Yeah.
have a routine. Get yourself ready for the day. You need to do the warming up. Don't jump into water straight up.
Yeah.
Right. So you may get through, but it shows.
But the medicine applying for my eyes will be different from his eyes. That's the changes.
Yeah, that's the difference.
But normally you need to clean all of your orifices, just like the eye, nose, etc.
And do you both do that?
Yeah, most probably we can do that.
You do it every day?
Not every day because it's we can't lie it here.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm asking,
Yeah.
like,
I try to
realistically, what do you do?
oiling and all, I do it because,
Yes, because-
it's important for me.
You do have
Get
like
a
an
heat flow in the
oil
body.
cleansing
Everything I do is full all body massage. I take 5
every
minutes maximum.
day?
Every day I do it.
In the evening or the morning?
Morning.
He's
especially
doing
morning.
morning.
Do you know what? I'm going to put that as my goal.
Right,
Yeah.
Ayurveda says that you have to put on your hair, ear, and the palms, the feet. You must put it
Yeah,
like so.
and you do something different.
Actually, I don't know. I'm just
There's a
cleaning
reason we
the
didn't talk is Agni, digestive capacity.
Yeah, actually, my digestive fire is little weaker. So if I apply the oil in the early morning, I can't digest that.
You feel
So
heavy, it's
I'm
like-
doing that in the 11 o'clock time because
Okay.
the 11 o'clock the sun may support me to digest the oil
Yeah.
properly. But for his body, he need the oil in the.
I need the fire.
early,
I need because of very high fire in me. So that's why again thing which we didn't
Oil
talk is that-
reduces the fire.
No, not like that. Because, everybody has different absorption capacity. So even you put an oil externally, it's a way of absorbing into the body. Some people feel heavy after oil massage. They feel dead for 1 week.
Yeah.
Some people suck oil. They need more and more.
So the morning time is mainly for your body. Okay, give that importance. At least 20 minutes, you please prioritize your own selections. Okay? And
But you must have more than 20 minutes for you in your usual 24 hours, or no? That's it?
No. Actually, since we have a 2-year-old baby, so that 20 minutes is more important for me because he's sleeping at that time.
Yeah.
So I'm just giving that 20 minutes for my body.
Yeah.
Then after that, all of my schedules are designed by him, not by me. Okay.
Wow, 20 minutes is not very much.
No, but what I say is that in between also you can have a kind of restful alertness, right? You keep your calm, not to worry about too many things. Like if you got a lot of occupied, so many jobs, you do as much as possible. You can stretch time as well. Also, you can compress the time also, right? So you do things one by one, take by ease by. So at any point, you should not get upset, no matter what the reason. If you get angry, if you get sad, you lost.
That's only affecting your own body.
Absolutely.
So whatever the negative emotions is producing by your body is not influencing others. It's definitely affecting your cell structure, your metabolism, etc.
So what's like the 5 bullet points or almost of the day,
after
a 24-hour day?
After that we need to have a proper breakfast. Okay, that's the most important thing. So based on your digestive capacity or your body's need, the breakfast may be different. Okay?
Yeah.
So if you are feeling really hungry, go for a heavy breakfast. But sometimes you may have a late night dinner, etc. So the next day morning you can skip the breakfast. We are doing like that.
You do that.
Based on my body's appetite or my body's need, we are selecting the breakfast.
Yeah.
And there will be some basic elements should be there. Some carbs should be there, some protein or some fat should be there in the breakfast time. And after that, he's going for work and I'm with the kids, etc. So in the first initial daytime, you need to focus on what are the major works you need to do. Okay, because it's a cortisol and the dopamine will helps you to make the decisions.
Okay.
So the decision taking, the meetings, etc. mainly he's doing in the morning times. And in the
most important tasks first
the
thing
most
in the day.
important tasks should be
Critical 2-3 items. Because of the Vada nature environment you're working in, it gets changed.
Yeah.
So the main 2 or 3 jobs which need to be taken, the decision making processes we are doing in the morning time.
Okay.
And then we are enjoying the lunch around 12 to 2 o'clock. Definitely you need to finish your lunch, and in that lunch we are including all the nutrients. For all the 5 earth, water, etc. The earth, water means the carbohydrate, fat, minerals, everything. We are trying to have a proper lunch.
Okay, perfect.
And after the lunch, we are doing the rest, the other works, not the important decisions work, the pending works we are sorting out.
Follow-ups and all those kind of things.
The pending works we are
follow-ups,
sorting.
Doesn't need to put your brain.
Okay,
just
in the afternoon.
Because when we are doing the consultations, we are doing in the morning time to understand the persons, etc. And then when you are preparing the recommendations, so that we are doing in the evening time. And then we may have a evening walk, etc. We're walking out with the friends and families, but mainly with the family. And then the night is starting. And we are finishing our dinner around 7:30.
7:30 finished with dinner.
And the dinner is also designed by your body's need. Okay. Sometimes you may need only the vegetables. Okay. And sometimes if you are in a very stressed situation, you may need some carbs also. So based on your body's need, have the dinner, and then it's your serotonin time. Enjoy whatever you like to do.
Relax before bed, right?
Before bed.
Never ever think what you didn't do the
after
day,
7:30.
right?
Don't think it. Don't plan it.
Don't plan anything.
That disturbs you as much as possible. I mean, there are circumstances you have to do.
No, it's true.
You are in a world, living a 24-hour world because all the people are around the places, right? So you may have it, but only for that short moment. Then get back to your normal mode.
Yeah, keep the serotonin before bed.
Yeah, right.
So,
that's a happy
and then automatically the melatonin will come out if the serotonin is in a proper way.
So that you can sleep properly, right?
After 9:30, the melatonin will come.
It's
not. You don't need to take the melatonin tab or the magnesium tab to induce the melatonin.
Okay, guys, we have this wonderful man who is desperate to do his digging, and the rain is starting again.
Right.
Thank you so much for being so patient and agreeing to do it with me amongst all of this fog. And I mean, I've learned loads and just really grateful that you both would speak with me today. So thank you.
it's a part of karmic cycle. We're supposed to meet here. We're supposed to do this.
I agree.
So go along with that. So that's very
100%. Yeah.
Hit the follow button on the podcast platform where you're listening to this. It helps us produce these episodes, take you guys to those wonderful places if you're watching online, and hopefully is sharing with you some inspiring nuggets of information.
Before the COVID, there was a scientist from, I think he was Israel based. He showed me they're trying to launch the cannabis, like which is now legalized and all. So he said they went to extensive genetic study.
Yeah.
He said this acted on this gene, like that. There's a kind of summary from it, like after years of study, kind of thing. And then I looked the cannabis property in Ayurveda. It says it works on the brain. There's a meda, or this is like a, like it's a mandya, like it's stimulant kind of property. It has got a constipation property, whatever. Like it's all written in there. So that gene correspondingly got this. So
It was the same.
It's the same, right?
So they spent how many years doing the study?
Maybe long.
And you looked and you're gone, okay.
Yeah, right, because
Well, at least the research, right?
it's one of the longest cohort studies. Not just study for 10, 20 years. It's generations they study.
Wow.
Observed it, not studying, it's observation, pure sheen observation. And they put it like that.